Hey, so welcome back to my channel. I am doing a different type of video today. I really want to start a conversation that's already been started. Today I want to do a different type of video, and this is like a type of video I really want to start doing more of, and it's where I basically am talking. Surprise, surprise, Tay Talks. Now let's get into it though. You own everything that happens to you. Everything that personally happens to you is yours. It's your property. You have the freedom to speak about it, share your story, tell your version. And I don't think people should be made to feel like they're wrong for sharing what they experience. And when other people get involved, I feel like it becomes more of a controversial thing. So that's what I want to talk about in this video today. So we could break this down into a couple of categories because we got different types of things we need to talk about, different situations we done came across, okay? You feel me? So let's start with relationships. Relationships, situationships, talking stage, dating, whatever you want to call it, because it's really all one and the same if you really think about it. You being involved with someone else and the outcome of whatever it was. So I feel like whenever a talking stage or a relationship goes south, a lot of people, it depends on the person, but some people just don't talk about it anymore. Maybe because of how it ended, or they're afraid to look dumb. But I don't think people should really feel that way, because how are you going to look dumb for something that happened to you? I've experienced this. You just don't want to talk about the situation because of how you're going to look by what someone else did to you. And if we really think about, does that even make sense? How you feel dumb for what someone's dumb ass did? How? Tell me. Put me on. Run game on me, please. I feel like people don't talk about what happened to them in a situation because they don't want to make the person that was involved look bad. But I feel like, honestly, fuck that person, because they did what they did, they moved how they moved, and they made you feel how you feel. So if you need to talk about it to a couple people or expose them even, do what you need to do. It happened to you, it's your experience. But I feel like it gets a little tricky because if you're gonna talk about it, you gotta talk about it. You gotta say what your part was in the situation too. If they were royally wrong, people are gonna see that. You shouldn't be afraid of how you're gonna make someone else look in your story, because if they did it, they did it. They gotta own up to it, whether they want to or not. You moved how you moved, and your character showed. Your flaws came out. The ass you are came out. You showed your true colors. You did that. Not in a good way. So I feel like you could talk about these things because it's your experience just as much as it was theirs. You guys just experienced it differently, two different ways. Like, one person may not be hurt, but the other's just going through it. Maybe you'll never really get over it because you over here holding it in for the sake of that person. You don't want to paint them out to be this type of person. But in reality, if it happened the way you're saying it happened, and please be honest when you tell these stories. Don't be out here lying, because then you just lost all your credibility. But if it happened the way you said it happened, shit's true. They are who they are. And you shouldn't feel bad about exposing that, because maybe they need to be exposed so that they can change their ways. Maybe they need that little wake-up call, little Another thing, I feel like people don't talk about their experiences because they don't want to be seen as bitter. But honestly, maybe you are bitter. Maybe you need to feel that for a little bit, and you have a right to feel that. Maybe the situation was happening one way in your head, and they were leading you to believe it was happening in that way, and then all of a sudden they flipped the script, but now you're bitter because you were misled. I don't know. Moral of the story is, you have a right to feel however you feel. The best ways to get over things is to, deal with them. And when you suppress them by not talking to them or trying not to seem a certain way, so you're just not really dealing with it, it's still up here. And that's just attacking you. So do what you need to do to get over it. All right, next. Nah, this one. Bro, family trauma. Bro, I'm the first to say it. I'll cut a family member off. Don't let this blood fool you. I do not care. I feel like family feels so entitled sometimes. Like they feel entitled to you. The strongest relationships are the ones that you choose, not the ones that were just given to you. And that's why a lot of friends be more loyal than family members, or a lot of friends hold you down more than a family member would. And I'm not saying that's the case all around. I'm not saying that happens 10 times out of 10. I'm saying with certain aspects of life, with certain people, certain situations, it's true. You'll have friends that are more family-like than actual family. You got friends that know more about you than your family ever did. You got friends that will never make you feel the way a family member can make you feel. And honestly, truly, we need to talk about it. A lot of people grow up and maybe they move a certain way. Maybe they carry themselves in a certain way. It's not going to be everyone's favorite. Not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone want to drink that. But I think we need to really look at it a little deeper, because you don't know what that person went through. You don't know what they struggle with. You don't know what their upbringing was like and what created them. Because essentially, the way you were raised, your childhood really depicts how you're going to be when you grow up, when you're a grown-ass person. It's going to translate into how you treat other people, how you go about relationships, how you go about feeling about yourself, honestly. And that all stems from how you were brought up in your childhood. Nah, if there's one thing that Twitter told me that I'm going to speak on black families because, you know, I'm black. But as far as black families go, listen, the upbringing, it could have been better. There's just so many things within the black community that is painted as the norm and that slid by and everyone thought was okay. But now we all grown and we traumatized. And I'm laughing because you really got to joke about these things to get through it. But honestly, truly, there's just a lot of things that were seen as normal and okay within our childhood that we realize today that was not okay. It just really wasn't. The way our parents are accustomed to handling things because they think it's the right way. And honestly, our parents, the older generations, the way they were brought up, the way they raised us, the mindsets they have and the way they want to carry things out, they're stuck in that state of mind. Like, it takes a lot to try to change their minds. I need our generation to do a lot better. And I'm not saying it was all bad, because, I mean, it's not. Nothing's black and white like that. But I'm saying there are certain things that our parents did and allowed to happen that they really shouldn't. And I hope that we don't carry that. I hope we do better, because isn't that the goal, for each generation to get better? You own your childhood experience. That is you. If it makes your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your uncle, your anyone look bad, that's their business. They did what they did. And it affected you in a certain way. And I feel like you should talk about it. Whether it's openly, whether it's to a friend, whether it's, you know, to a therapist. Talk about it, because that's how you're going to make peace with it. It's something about the way we start really taking mental health seriously now, or so we think. But at least the conversation has been started. And when the conversation started, you really start looking at things. And I don't know about y'all, but I realized there's just a lot of things that influence my mental health and not for the better. And I'm going to leave it at that. Anything that has led you to become who you are today, which is, just so you know, all your experiences, you own and you have the right to share. You have the right to talk about. And I think you should talk about it not only for the sake of talking about it, but to make peace with it, to get through it, to understand it a little bit better. Maybe you talking about it is going to help somebody else figure out what they were going through. And maybe it's going to bring to light some things they didn't even realize was going on. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about sexual assault. I said it. I know, y'all cringing. Yes, this again, so prominent in 2020. Whew, let's talk about it. All right, so awareness on this has definitely grown, and a lot of attention has been brought to it. And a lot of people started to realize that a lot of the things that they let slide were actually them just being sexually assaulted. I know, I feel like some people shy away from talking about this type of thing, especially when it's someone that's widely known or that's popular, because they don't want to make them look bad or they feel like no one's going to believe them. But tell your truth, speak your truth. And I feel like with this, it's so sensitive because there's been so many cases of people lying, and that is not it. When you lying about stuff like that, you really taking away from the credibility of people that want to tell their story. Because then they're like, well, she could be lying because X, Y, and Z was lying, even though A and B got nothing to do with each other. But people love to take one situation and apply it to another. I definitely get that it's hard for people to talk about things like that because people are just not going to believe you, especially when you're saying someone that they know and they just don't see it happening. They're going to feel like they can't believe you. And they don't even need a reason. They just don't believe you just because they're like, nah, I could never see so-and-so doing that. When the truth of the matter is, your bro's a rapist. Ugh. People never want to hear about this, but I mean, it's real. It's happening. It's probably not gonna stop happening, which is unfortunate, but it's the God honest truth. And it happens to more people than you would think. A lot of people grew up having things happen to them without even realizing that they were being assaulted. And as soon as it started becoming a bigger conversation, that's when people really started noticing and realizing and thinking back to something that happened to them. And they were like, oh shit. You didn't realize in the moment. You didn't think anything of it in the moment. And now that someone has said X, Y, and Z, and you're like, oh, that happened to me, you feel like maybe it's too late. Nah, unwanted sexual assault is so common, and especially in parties. Like, listen, this is how the lines get blurred. Because when you're in a party, especially when drinks are involved, everyone's having a good time, y'all are dancing in what some may see as a provocative fashion, and people get a little carried away. Like, I've even experienced this, and it's like, when I realized what was like what had happened, what it was like, it's like you want to take a shower. I'm gonna tell you guys what happened. It was my sophomore year of college, and it was Halloween, and I went to a Halloween party, and I was wearing this red dress, had the whole back out, so you don't wear a bra with it. So I'm in the party, and I'm drunk. That doesn't make anything I'm about to say okay. Just so we're clear. So I'm in the party, I'm drunk, I'm dancing with some guy. To this day, no clue who the guy was. While we're dancing, I felt his hands, like, they, like, went up from, like, the side of my body, my hips, and he slid his hands through the back of the dress, because remember, it's a backless dress. So he slid his hands in through the back of the dress and grabbed my boobs. But, like, he's like on my actual boobs because he's in the dress, like niggas in the dress with me. And when it happened, as soon as it happened, I like just jumped up. I was like, hey. And then from there, just distanced myself with him. No clue who he was. No clue why he thought that was okay. I just distanced myself. Didn't make a big deal of it. Didn't do anything. Went to find my friends. And that was the end of that. I'm not blaming myself from being drunk because drunk or not, it shouldn't have happened. But when it happened, because I was drunk and I was just in my own little world, I just let it slide. And I wish I didn't. I wish I would have dragged his ass because what made you think? Who raised you? But that's just one instance of the many times I've been sexually assaulted. And I just know I'm not the only one because it's too common and people don't even realize it, especially in college. I mean, you can watch past vlogs to see what college I went to. I went to UAlbany, and I mean, it don't have the greatest reputation. It still was a great school. Don't get me wrong. I love the school, but I mean, it don't have the greatest reputation. And people love to bring their friends that don't go to that school. Like when you go to parties, especially around like homecoming time, Halloween, if it was like a big party that like was like an annual party, those types of parties, you always had people that didn't actually go to the school coming up to go to those parties. So the guy that did that to me, he could have been a UA student. He could have been somebody's friend from the city that came up that weekend to sleep on the floor just to go to that party. No clue who he was. No clue if he was drunk too, because I mean, that's something you got to think about. But I mean, drunk or not, you can't control yourself in that way. Like I said, it was a Halloween party, so, you know, scary niggas was out. All right, now moving on to the last thing I want to talk about, and it's just in general situations that literally trigger depression for you. So I feel like we should be able to talk about any situation that puts us in a state of depression. And you don't necessarily need to go get clinically diagnosed to realize that you're depressed. Like, I really feel like we need to normalize talking about things that make us feel small, things that we feel like we have to hold in and can't express, because by not talking about this stuff, it really eats away at you. And I definitely know, because I experienced this. Like, I'm talking to y'all about things I experience, things I go through, and things I feel like other people can relate to, because it can't just be me. There's no way. I'm special, but I ain't that special. So we definitely do more damage to our own mental health by not talking about it. We need to find one person to confide in at least, so we could get that off, somebody to vent to. And as I make this video and I'm saying all these things, it's like I'm talking to y'all, but I'm talking to myself too, because these are things I don't do. I don't talk about the things that happen to me. I'm not someone that easily opens up. I'm not someone that really trusts anybody. And that's a conversation for another day, why I am the way I am, because of all the shit that has happened to me, all the things I've experienced that no one even knows about, because I refuse to open up, because people never understand, or at least I feel like they never understand. And another thing, when it comes to opening up, I've just always felt like, what's the point? Like, I open up, then what? It's not like you can solve the problem. What you gonna do? And I've been in that situation where I've tried to open up a little bit and the person literally, they just didn't help. And that's not their fault, because it's really not their job to help. But I'm just saying, it definitely is hard. It's so hard to open up. But that's honestly why I wanted to make this video, because I really feel like we need to normalize talking about the things that happen to us, despite how it makes someone else look. Because it's your story and you own everything that happens to you. And I can't express that enough. And I really hope by saying it out loud, putting it in this video, sharing it with you guys, like my thoughts, I really hope it makes me realize that it's okay. It really gives me that push to really start opening up to people, to make myself more vulnerable, to help myself get over things. Because there's no reason things that happened years ago still be on my mental. There's really no reason. No reason I'm not over things that happened so long ago, just because I won't talk about it, because I can't talk about it. I don't feel like I can talk to somebody about it, you know? And people also need to realize that anyone can experience depression. Anyone can feel overwhelmingly sad by something that's happened to them. And the friend that always seems happy to you, the friend that just seems so confident, the friend that seems like nothing's going wrong in their life, I bet they be going through it behind closed doors, because boy. Now, a lot of the things I talked about, they don't just pertain to me, but obviously I went through a couple things, and that's what even gave me the idea to talk about it. It's definitely a risque thing, you know, to put this out there, but that's the whole point of the video. If it happened to me, I own this experience, and who are you to tell me how I should feel about something? Who are you to tell me I feel wrong? Who are you to tell me I saw it the wrong way? If I felt that way, if I experienced it that way, it is what it is. I feel like other people probably relate. We should be talking about these things. You don't have to talk about it publicly. Find a friend or something. But me, being that I want to start making more YouTube videos and stuff, this is where I want to begin the conversation. And I feel like it's a good place for other people to see it. Someone could comment and be like, I've definitely experienced it. I don't know. But even if you don't want to actually leave a comment, hit me up on the side. Literally, my social media was in the beginning. Hit me up. We about to start dealing with these demons, because honestly, truly, without dealing with them, they just eat away at you. They don't go away, they just get more power, they get bigger. So like the title of the video says, and like I've said throughout the video, you own everything that happens to you. So don't feel afraid to talk about it. As I'm talking to y'all, I'm literally talking to myself in this video too. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. Leave a comment if there's something you want to talk about or something you feel like resonated with you in this video, because honestly, like I said, I can't be the only one. It can't be just me. It just can't be. But I mean, if it is, y'all living some great lives, honestly, truly. And I'm jealous. If you like the video, like that shit. And if you want to start the conversation, start the conversation.